Well, good morning or good afternoon. This is Ed Smith with Universal Digest, and I'm speaking with Tress Blair. Tress invited me to her group, Echo Whispers, on Facebook, and it's been nothing less than eye-opening and quite interesting. Notwithstanding, I've met some very interesting and good people recently, thanks to her inviting me to the group. And that being said, Tress has a very interesting life in which she is living, and we've had a good chance to talk about it, and we feel it's important to share with the watching audience. So, without further ado, Tress, thank you very much for coming to see us and give your interview today, and I'll turn it right over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Ed, for inviting me onto your show, and it's been really lovely to meet you over the past wee while, and enjoyed your company on Echo Whispers Zoom group. And yeah, it's been really lovely to meet you all, and it's nice to be here.
Well, thank you. Yes, the pleasure is all mine for sure. You have a very interesting ability. Well, I don't know. You please correct me if your words will be better than mine, and I'm sure they are. You actually have a life transfer with full knowledge of your lifetime elsewhere. And I'd like, if you could, please share that with us.
Yes, well, where it all started was when I was very young. I grew up in the country, and I always felt very different from the children around me. So I would be happier more with the animals and the farm animals and my pets. And I used to go and sit with the farm animals and spend time there. Must have been about maybe 4 or 5, and I would be able to have the knowledge of knowing what they were saying and how we could speak to each other. And I knew that they weren't happy on the farms and what was going on. And I loved the country. I loved the nature around me. I was always happy when I was outside. So as I grew up, I started to have contact with different species. When I was very young, it all happened when I was about a year old, and I was in my pram with my mum and my dad. My mum and my grandmother, pardon me, was pushing the pram, and all of a sudden I realised that I had awakened into a different body. It was a human body that I didn't understand. And I remember looking at the sky above and thinking, what is going on? And feeling sort of control in this human body. And I knew that I knew that things were different around me. So after that, as I said, I always felt that things were always going on around me, that in a different way from what I had knowledge of. And when I came to the age of 4, I was taken with the species to another planet. I awoke standing at my front door, looking at a small being with big black eyes and a man with a beard that was a lot taller. And there were 3 other beings to the left of me, just standing there, and there was a silver white sort of craft in the garden. It was very big. It was in the front lawn, but I didn't know as a child what that actual craft was. I had no idea. So telepathically, I was looking into the small being's big black eyes, and I was so entranced with these eyes, and he was giving me all this knowledge of what was going on and who I was, but I was so young, I couldn't take it all in. And they said that there'd be a time in my life that I wasn't to leave the house. I was to stay in the house. And also that they would be there for me and they would be watching me. So the next thing was I was sitting on the end of my bed with my house coat on, looking around me thinking, what's going on? Terrified out my wits, running through to the living room, getting my case, packing my stuff. I was only 4, and my mother came in and she said, what are you doing? I says, I have to leave. I have to get out of here. I can't live in this house anymore. So she just said, it's a bad dream you've had. You need to go back to bed. You'll be fine. You've just had a nightmare. You'll be okay. So then it all just quietened down from that point to where as I grew up, I could foresee things happening in the family, and I could hear things around me. I didn't want to eat. I didn't like eating food. It wasn't a part of me eating. I just wasn't wanting to eat. And I didn't want to wear clothes. I would always rip them off, and I would be running about outside, 5, 6 years old with no clothes on. Mum would be running down the street. Come on, get into the house. Couldn't understand me. They took me to the doctor, and the doctor says, just leave her, she'll be fine. But there's some antidepressant tablets for her that will quieten her down, and she'll be better. So grateful that I have a mother that would never give me those tablets. She knew better not to do that. But for the doctors in those days, they didn't understand, and they really weren't of the mind and interest to talk about these things with children and what they were going through. So good that we've actually moved on so much, in these days, and that we can now help the children that are awakening up to what's happening in the world,
I would agree with you wholeheartedly. I have a very good mother. She's almost 91 years old, and we did a lot of studying when I was young, because I'd always felt that there was some sort of incredible purpose in my life that's now been revealed. But this is all about you, Tress. However, I will share that she read Dr. Spock, Edgar Casey, and all these things, and we discussed all these mind-opening, eye-opening subjects that were not mainstream, definitely not common, and it got me off to a good start. So, like when you and I first really met, we had been Facebook friends for a while, but we started discussing these things. It made total sense to me. And by the way, for the viewers, a pram is a baby buggy.
Yes.
The first time we talked about it, I kept thinking, she went to a prom at 1 year old,
I know, we got a bit mixed up there. Maybe the Scottish tongue and you from.
I was just a wee bit shy, but anyway, that it's, to me, this makes a lot of sense, especially the world in which we are living now. There are many revelations occurring, and you are part of that, and that's why we decided to do this interview, of which I really appreciate you, attending. So please continue. There's a lot more there that's really interesting.
Well, thank you for saying that. You're very kind. Yes, so as you always know, it's always difficult to explain things. You go through your life as doing what you're doing, and with the knowledge that you have, and like my own self, I've always been a loner with it. I've always lived my life quietly and not spoke about it, because when I have spoken about it, just little bits, I would get people looking at me and saying to me, you're either mad or, that you're not right. There's something not right with you. So I would just walk away and just keep it all to myself. I didn't tell my family, though my family knew that I had a lot that was going on with myself, but it's only been the past 10 years that I've actually opened up and come out and been doing a lot more and helping a lot more of people. So I go back and forward to a planet called Sakruma. Now, a lot of people wouldn't understand this, as I didn't understand it growing up myself. But as I was growing up over the years, as a child, I would be taken from my bed through the window into the craft, and we would go off to a place where I would know that was my home, my peace. Everything around me was love, and we all cared for each other, and we would discuss things, and we would be sitting in groups of children in circles, and we would have the man with the golden eyes talking to us and explaining to us about what our journey was on earth and how we were to carry on doing things. And we learnt a lot from that. I know that I come from another planet and that I have lived here all my life, and I'm here on a mission. I'm a mentor from my planet to help the people of the earth to open up to who they really are, you see. And though I know all this, I know that I had to study by going back and forward to learn new programs and that to bring back down here. Now, over the years, I didn't understand this. So one day I asked them that I really needed to know more knowledge about who I was and where I came from and what I was doing with this journey of mine from Earth to Sakruma. And they opened up to me and they showed me the window that I stood by, and they said, do you remember standing here many years ago before you left to go down to Earth? We showed you the world as it could be, beautiful, and the greenery was beautiful. The seedlings were planted, and the seedlings would grow and look after Mother Earth and nourish Mother Earth, and everything would be as one and in loving down on Mother Earth. And then we showed the other part where it was just a mess. There was nothing. It was ruined. It was so devastating to look at it. And they said your choice was given to go down there and to work and to help to do the changes, to bring about the changes, and your choice was given, and you had to say yes. I didn't have a choice in the end.
Not much of a choice.
I didn't have a choice. I had to go down. So that's when I came down. I was born, and from my mum and dad to look after me and that. And I used to say to my mum and dad many times, I don't belong here. I come from a place far off in the sky. And I want to go home. And my mother would say, no, you don't belong anywhere. You belong here. This is your home. And they didn't understand. Though saying that, my mother used to talk about a white helicopter that used to come and take her away. And she used to go off in this white helicopter. And there was times in the house where my mother would be in the kitchen, and I would come through, go back, and she wasn't there. And then she would appear again in another room. I don't think she understood what was going on herself because she never spoke about it. So, there's a lot that I would have loved to be able to have known, but, I'm learning.
We had a little freeze up, but everything seems to be fine now. Did you ever discuss it with your mother? Did you ever see the white helicopter? She obviously imparted some of that information to you.
Yeah. She always mentioned about this white helicopter, how she remembered as a child going into the white helicopter and taking off into the sky, going away. And I never understood it because I was too young, and I never really was ready to ask questions about it. I just thought it was like a dream to her, and she'd be dreaming about this helicopter. And I always thought, well, maybe she wants to go in a helicopter. Maybe that's what it is. But she was a medium, and my grandmother was a medium, and she used to do the tea leaves and all that, my grandmother. But because she was Irish and the Catholics in Ireland, she had to give it up purely because it was to do with religion and that. So my grandmother actually had to give all that up. But I think it all stemmed back from my grandmother to whatever was going on in the family. And it got stronger, I think, as the generations, down the line went. Mm-hmm.
My mother introduced me to a medium who her main mission was about the Kennedy assassination in the United States in 1963. And so we visited that home, and it was almost surreal. But I felt this strong, strong, incredible love in this person's house. And she was quite lucid, very matter of fact in what she said and did. But in matter of fact, some friends of mine actually tried a Ouija board once. Notice I said once because it works. And it moved things around and gave us concrete answers. And for me personally, because of my direction in life, I felt, this is not my path.
Yes.
So, but I've heard that a lot. And, you please continue. This thing about your mother, we hadn't discussed. And it seems to happen generally in families, a lot of the same experiences, as experiencers with extraterrestrials or unidentified flying objects, etc. It tends to happen in family lines, not so much just off the wall. And as we've discussed, other beings, because as you know, I've said over and over, this universe is teeming with life, and there are many beings, and we're in a very protected area, and most are very, very good. There are some that may have issues, and even with humans, but we have to agree that the real danger is an old, I think it was Calvin and Hobbes or something. We have met the enemy and he is us, and it's the human condition that I'm dedicated to making better to whatever degree I can while I'm here. And we've discussed that in unison as you are doing. But the human race is known as really the most violent of all the races, even though it's the newest. But we're still killing each other, like this recent event occurring in Ukraine, etc. To me, I cannot even fathom that we would actually be doing something like this at this technological stage of our existence.
Yes, I agree totally. I agree. The way that we have seen human beings is that they are the top of the chain. They are at the top, but there is the government, and then we've got the higher ones, as you know, we discussed this a while ago. And the thing is, with the human beings at the top of the chain, they have climbed on everybody else and everything else to get there. And they don't care. They don't care. Sorry about that. It's just my dogs.
Agreeing in unison. He said, bark, bark.
Yes, they want to get their voice in as well. They get the human beings have got to the top of the chain by climbing on everything else to get there. And they've got, I'm not talking about everybody, not every human being. This is the human beings that we have found that have taken to materialistic things, money, greed. They don't see the love that likes of you and I do, and many of us, that are here, that realize that the only thing that's going to save Mother Earth is the love that we've here to give Mother Earth between us all, and the uprising of all the awakening humans on Earth now that are coming forward, that want to do the good, is what we are now aiming at. We sat in class 15 years ago, we sat in class and we meditated in a way that's different from what we would do down here. And there were circles of us, and we meditated into the beings down on Earth to awaken through their mind so that they would understand what is happening around them. And from then we followed them, and we watched a lot of the people down here awakening and changing things. Vegetarianism, veganism, we don't want to eat animals anymore on Earth. It's all wrong. It's totally wrong. And we have brought down from Sakruma and certain other planets I know of, bring hybrids down. We brought 7,500 hybrid children who are now growing down onto Earth, who walk amongst us, who, by touching the shoulders of a human can change the way they think for the good and for the better. When I was young, I used to sit in class, going off a wee bit now, I used to sit in class and I didn't understand the teaching that they were teaching me in class. And the way they were teaching things was so, what's the word, backward, going backwards rather than going forwards. Because I come from the future as well, and I've seen the future, and I've seen the other Mother Earth that's completely different from this Earth, that is waiting for the awakening ones to go on to at some point, I realised that I was just totally out of sync with everything. So I was the one that always got told that I wasn't doing anything right, and I couldn't write properly because the way they wrote, I couldn't get words, I couldn't speak words properly. I would be sitting and I would watch one or two crafts going across outside the window in the sky, knowing that they were a part of me. And I couldn't understand why nobody in the class couldn't see them and weren't actually wanting to talk about them. And I would be there on my own. It was like being in a box and you're walking about in this box with nobody else to share this life with. If you get me.
No, I do completely agree with you. And I regress back just a little bit too, that people say, well, where are the aliens? Well, excuse me. What alien would really want you to see them when you're the one that's the most dangerous?
Yes.
And also people don't realize that they're everywhere, and you wouldn't know. They'll let you see them when they want you to see them for a good purpose. And as for lack of better words, the evolution of the human spirit is growing. It was much the same for me growing up after my first experience, where I saw a craft that I knew in 1967 wasn't one of ours, so to speak. But when I got into transcendental meditation with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi in 1970 and started meditating as I do today, to this date, things started happening that were good. Even Maharishi said that if 1% of the world was meditating, all crime, war, and famine, disease would cease to exist. So it's really the same with my mantra. It's the same effect as to what you've been saying when we met. And back to Sakuruma a little bit. You've mentioned to me before, there's an intermediary, very large craft between Sakuruma and Earth, where it's like a drop-off point or a meeting point for all you people to be able to learn, grow, and really reorient yourselves. You would like to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I know the crafts there all the time.
Yes.
I know it's in the sky. It's above where I stay, and it watches. It's a very, very large craft. It's a round craft, and it has lights on it, and it's like a city. It could be the size of 2 cities, even more. It's so big. Now, that's our point where we are taken to, because we don't always go back to Sakuruma. Because if we go back, we want to stay. That's our home.
Why would you want to come back to Earth?
So we go to the craft. Now, the craft that we're on has pods. The pods come off at small crafts that travel around the universe and go to different places. I was out just the other night there. Well, another night. It was a couple of weeks ago, and what I do is I put my arms up to the sky, and I say, I'm here in love and light, and I love you so much. Please come in and let me see you. So they will show themselves, and there was 6 to 9 small pods just out of nowhere, came out of the sky, flew across the sky very slowly, and in my thoughts, through telepathic communication with them, they were saying that they had a mission they were going off to. and they couldn't stop. And I watched them going across. I take lots and lots of pictures. I have thousands of pictures over the years of all sorts of different beings and crafts and videos, all sorts, which gradually I'm putting up on my Echo Whispers YouTube channel, but gradually. So the thing is, I don't always take pictures and videos. If I see them, I'm not going to rush to take a video because I know they're there. I don't have to explain or prove anything to anybody because I'm here to do my job that I have to do. So the craft that's in the sky, our home craft, is there. And sometimes I know when they're very close to me and they want me to go outside, or I've got another, well, let's see, another job to do that they're contacting me with, and I have to go back, and I know that they'll take me back that night or whenever, because I get a strong metallic smell all around me. I can be sitting here in my office working away, and the smell starts to come in, and it's with me for the whole of the time that it needs to be there. And it's like somebody striking a match, that kind of smell, or from a car's engine. It's a strong sort of smell like that. And I know that they're here. So when I'm working with anyone, I work with hybrids and I work with the children, I work with people that have been abducted. I get many messages and calls, and I help them as much as I can to come to terms with what they're going through. When they mention they've got the smell, I understand they are so connected because of what they're getting through. Yes, the craft's there. There's not a lot I can say about it apart from that I go back and forward to the craft, and we sit and I meet other people. I know that when I, like yourself, I met you a few weeks ago, our road was meant to meet, that
Yes.
it was already patterned out for us to meet, and that we've met before in a past life to do with the work that we're all doing. We all know each other and the groups that we're in on Earth, but we also know each other from our past where we've been. There's a lot of people that we don't meet on Earth because these are not the ones that we're working with, but we work with our own. So we get together in groups on the craft and we'll discuss things. And I might see somebody that's on there and I speak with them and I know what they're doing, and then I come back to Earth and within a few weeks I have made a link with them or they've made a link with me. And though maybe they don't remember, I usually remember, and I'll say to them, you know, I've seen you on the craft, I've seen you working and what you're doing, and it's up to them if they, you know that. But yes, there's many crafts in the sky, and the cloud formations that you see in the sky, the black cloud formations that you will see occasionally in different places, you will find that sometimes they'll be in different areas on one night. They may be in one city, then another city, and they're all gathered together on that one night in different areas. They're actually crafts in these clouds. They're not clouds. I try to explain to people because I know that the science and the people to do with all the weather and that sort of, they say it's just a cloud formation that's natural and it's a no. They're crafts. I've got pictures of them above my house, above my garden, and I interact with them, and the beings come forward and I speak with them as well, and then they'll go away. It's so that they gradually have the human race getting to know what a craft would be like when it comes to Earth, when it's connecting, and they do it through, clouds and formations and that.
Well, recently, and I hadn't shared this with you in one of our conversations yet, but it's been happening in various areas around the world. And it's the same craft that I saw with a neighbor friend just standing outside at our mailboxes in our neighborhood recently. and it came from the north, and it was very bright, and it was not so much like it was oscillating, but it was difficult to tell. And then I've been reading about this since, but when it came overhead, it stopped, and I looked up, and just intuitively I waved at it and said hello, and I felt a presence, a consciousness, and it was very good. And then it made some real like shiny beeps or something, but like we always see, you never hear a sound. Never hear a sound. And I saw it, and after I waved, I didn't think to get a camera and to take, a video of it. I was just almost mesmerized because it was just so incredible to watch. And then it just went to the south and went up to the west and took off.
Yes, yes, yes.
So,
I know.
All the years of research that I've been doing, just briefly for you to, as you already know, nothing happens by accident. You're exactly right. And this is a blessing. And it's really wonderful to not only meet you, but to carry on with you and our friends that you have brought into my life. My purpose is set, but it's not the same type of path as anyone else. And the gifts that I've been given and that I've learned are being utilized. And if anything, the people who are in contact of others that were invited on crafts and things such as that, they said, get your work finished now. We're living in a very unique time. You and I talked about this from 2022 through 2026 on your account. And mine, I'm looking at 2027 through 2030. Some sort of incredible thing about to happen. And when we mention about the people who are in control, it seems that in this world, the higher they get, the more they seem to fall to greed, gluttony, and all these other things without thinking of other people or treating them as they want to be treated. It's how we can use those unwashed, or so they say in some circles, as slaves and to do our bidding. But we know that's about to change. There's something going on that is really very good. There's no end. People saying this is the end of the world. Please stop and consider it. That it's the beginning of a new age that is happening, that we're feeling and seeing. A couple of things on that note is that's why the common denominator I've seen with my case studies and all is, and I know that you live by this too, you say, I'm on the mission, this is what I'm doing. And that is that they don't really care if anyone believes them or not. This is what happens, as well as I feel the same way. And all we're doing is to help emancipate the human condition to a better plane of existence.
That's very, very true. Yes. And a lot of us think along the same lines. And what I want to say is nothing dies. I know that when you have your mum, dad, your pets, whoever, aunts, uncles, cousins, whatever, if someone's to die in your family, it's not a death. It's a human thing saying it's a death. We come in to this life through a dark tunnel and we're born. And we come in with nothing. We don't know anything, but we have got love in us. We only know love and a smile from a child, a baby, and they only know love. When you die, it's the same thing. You go out with nothing. You go through a dark tunnel and you will meet the people that are waiting for you to take you back. Or you will go back if you are being chosen to come down here to do work. You will go back to the place you go home to, like I go back to Sukrima. There's no death. It's only who they leave behind on this earth that they get upset because they're in the human body, in the human mind, and they haven't evolved yet to realise that when somebody leaves, it's their time. And when they come down, most of the people here are programmed to come down to live their life, maybe to go through their life and leave this world at an early age, or through something that's happening on earth that's terrible. And it's all programmed. So if we can evolve mentally to the higher reign of what we are above our senses and realize exactly what we're doing here And when somebody leaves, we say, we love you, but it's your time to go back. We will carry on with what we have to do. This is what we're having to evolve to. Now, we are here in a program on Earth, and coming down in a program on Earth from wherever places we come to, we have also been taken over by the dark side of the ones on Earth, keeping us in a control system as well, which to a lot of the other species have not been happy about, which some of the species have come down in the past in their crafts to walk on Earth and to help, but to be what's the word I'm thinking of? To be acknowledged in fear, and that they're here to do wrong, and all what they do is they get their guns out, or they want to shoot them down, or they want to do bad things to the other beings that have come down. So with this happening, I'm not going into all the different places because a lot of people know what I'm talking about, to where species have come down and they've been shot and they've been kept in prisons and things like that. Because of all that happening, they are not putting themselves out for this to happen to them again. They're biding their time to wait until the majority of the humans are awakened to the presence of the other beings, and they will welcome them. But they won't let the Earth get too far that the whole of Earth will die. Then they will intervene. They're watching all the time. They're monitoring everything that's going on. I know that. I've seen it. And what will happen is, if it comes to it, if it tilts to the side where it's just about to go, they will intervene, and they will take all the awakened ones away from Earth on the craft with the animals and the children, the innocent, and they will leave the ones that do not want to come out of their bubble and awaken to the truth of what's happening. They will leave them on Earth. And this is what's happening.
I couldn't agree more. And that type of dispensation, even from other outside events like asteroids and things such as that, which have happened over the years, they will intervene and act. So people that don't know, and hopefully more and more do, is that we have measured, a few scientists have found that the eternal spirit of which we are in every being on this planet and beyond weighs about 3 ounces, and it leaves at the time of the physical death of the body. Furthermore, the beings that we've met, and in the case studies I've conducted, some taking a few years, it's really incredible that the beings that have revealed themselves or invited people to their crafts or whatever, that some are over 1 million years old. There's no death there because everything is fixed. They can even pretty much dissolve themselves and reappear without any hitch. So these facts have been given to us over many, many years. But unfortunately, I won't venture a percentage, but I know it's minuscule, maybe less than 1 or 2% that see this, realize it, and understand that we do have a beautiful eternal future, and the love and the consciousness that exists in the universe is here for one reason, and that's to enjoy love. And we're not doing that here.
No, we need more love. People are frightened of love. I mean, people think that, oh, love is an intimate thing where you have to be two people together. It's not. Love is knowing each other and knowing that we have to make everything good on earth. That's what love is. Let things flourish around us. Smile at each other. Be happy. Be caring. Help your brother. Help your sister. No greed. We don't need possessions. As you grow away from the feeling of being in a human body, awakening, you won't want the possessions that you've got. You'll start to clear things out. You'll start to clear your mind out. You'll start to rise above yourself. You'll start to feel better in yourself. You start to be wanting to help others. The whole change of your personality will change. And I've seen this happening. I mean, it's happened to me over the years, slowly, gradually, as I've grown up from being a teenager, though with me being with animals and that, I stopped eating animals meat when I was about 15, when I had my own thoughts about things and I could control what I wanted to do. But there's greater things than what we have on this earth that's all around us. And you can be anywhere, and you could be standing next to another species from another planet, and you wouldn't even know that that was them, because they're looking at you, you're looking at them, and you walk away, but you have a feeling.
Yes.
It's this feeling that there's something about that person. Mm-hmm. And they'll give you that, and it changes the way you think gradually as well.
And I think in many cases we should ask for it first. That is very important. Once you start feeling these evolutions and elevations, we feel better, but we ought to ask, I want to understand more. And that's all I think anybody can really do, is ask for it, and it is revealed to you. Yes. If you don't mind me asking you, what does Tibrin think of what we're talking about?
Tibrin is just absolutely delighted that I'm with you at this point, and we're discussing this, because he knows it's advancing every stage of what we're needing to do down here, and you're doing a marvelous job. Yeah. And he's just so pleased to meet you. You know,
meet him too.
Yes, Tibrin is a small grey. He's a small grey that was the boy that I met when I was 4 years old with the big black eyes. Wow. And over the years, I've come to know him more and more, and he saved my life and my family at times when we've been in situations of something going to happen. I'll tell you a wee story. I haven't told you this one because we did talk for a long time, not so far off there.
We've had our first session with my wonderful bride and you, lasted over 5 hours, and then we had a session with Echo Whispers on the Zoom session with other marvelous people, 5.5 hours. So please continue. Yay.
I don't know where the time went. It was just like a flash, because we were just like brothers, sisters, just talking like we had met each other for the first time, and we had so much to discuss about all the things that we were doing, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And yes, if anybody wants to join our Echo Whispers Facebook group, please do, because we're all a family there, and we're all there to help each other and get to know each other, which is something that I was told from my peers that I had to do. So everything I do in my life is what I am asked to do, and I just carry on doing that. But yes, there was a time when I was a teenager, and I was coming from a disco in those days, a disco it was then, and I was crossing, we used. Sorry?
Not a prom?
No, not a prom. A disco, you dance. It's not a prom. We're learning something new every day talking to each other. Yes, so we were walking home from being out that evening, and I think it was about an hour and a half to walk home, as we did in those days. We never thought of getting buses or that. We walked everywhere. And we were walking, as I say, we were walking home on the pavement, and all of a sudden my friend got hit in the leg, and we saw somebody running across from her getting hit in the leg, but she never thought anything of it. And we continued walking, and we were talking. Next minute, I just had this feeling that I had to turn round. And as I turned round, this person who had this hoodie on had like a sharp silver, I thought it was a knife, in his hand above my neck. As I turned round, I looked at it, And I looked into his eyes and he ran away. With that, my friend said her leg was bleeding, so I grabbed my friend's shoulder and we ran as fast as we could to a garage. We call it a garage here. I don't know what you call it there. And we got the police and they helped us. And I don't know if I can't remember if they found a chap or not, but it was a he must have done, because he said it was a hypodermic needle that he had in his hand. And I don't know what was in it, but my friend was okay. But I always believe that Tibran is watching over me and gives me the telepathic insight to what I have to know of knowledge that's going on around. So that was a wee something that happened a long, long time ago. Many things have happened like that. It's ongoing. And the other thing is we have the feline cat people on our planet. They're beautiful felines. They're very gentle. They wander about like, if you were in their company, you'd feel so relaxed and so at peace, because that's what they are. They're very peaceful, very slow, and they're just lovely. And I've met the mantis beings. I've met the the palladiums. I've met most of the greys. The Hepatora people are what my people are, Hepatoras. And we're very human-like where we come from, but we have got the pink round our faces, more pink round here, and our faces are more round. But saying that, we can, as everyone does when we leave, we go into a form like a white light. We're just like a white energy that glows, and we have the eyes that we can see. I have, in the garden, when I go out and take photographs, or I call my beings in, my friends and my family in, some of them will come in like the white glowing beings and they will stand in front of me. And they don't allow me to take photographs of them. Not yet. I've got one photograph so far, but they're evolving the humans so that if they give themselves these pictures to the humans, it's when they're going to be ready for this. Everything is in time and when they're going to be ready. Yeah, so it's all like a schooling down here. We're all in a school.
Very true. This is also why, for the viewers to know, this will be on YouTube here shortly, and there are no bells and whistles. I'm not a graphics artist nor a huge producer, but sometimes we have to get these messages out, and it's real. It's real to us, and I'm sure more people have experienced it and may be afraid or concerned about revealing that, and that's what a number of us are doing who are in this this vein, and that with others that we know. I won't mention the names here, nor will we show pictures. You've shown me some. That's wonderful, but you also have a mission that you're doing that on your own. If need be, then we'll return to do something here, but and certainly I'm more than happy to appear on your channel as well. We're doing this to the viewers because we care. We just want it out, and it's nothing more than that. And if you don't believe us, that's your opinion, that's your choice. You don't have to. We don't mind either way. And this has been the same type of mantra that I've heard in all the case studies, and it's really reassuring. We're doing it because we want to. We know the word needs to get out to others. And as Tress, you have told us here, by golly, we've covered a lot more than what we can do in this one video. And we just want that to get out and give you the exposure you've definitely earned. And Tibran, thank you very much for being delighted. I'm just as delighted as you are in meeting different beings. And I've had a couple of experiences you can telepathically tell through me. So Tress, Blair, this has been fantastic. Now, being that you're from Sakruma, did you want to share a little bit of your language from there before we call it a day?
Yes. And when you were talking about the other people and that we're sharing this for the people, it's for the ones that are on their own, especially that have nowhere to turn to. that need something to relate to and somewhere to go, which is yourself and myself, always open to helping anyone that's worried about contacts or things happening around them to do with crafts or that. Never be frightened, because you've always got somewhere to go. Yes, I'm quite happy to. I'm quite happy to speak my own language. It's my language that I prefer to speak, and I go around my home and places talking like that, because the human language is so heavy and rough, where my language is a lot sort of lighter, I would think.
It is, and I've heard it, and it's actually melodic and beautiful. And for a translation, let's say that translate into Sacrumian, what if I said that correctly? that you enjoyed the show, you're reaching out to help others, and we'll be back. And love is the answer, and love is where we're all headed, who wants to head that direction. Not everyone has the same opportunities in this life. We're aware of that. And that's what we're trying to do, is to help others to not only wake up, but to enjoy the life that you've chosen to live. I mean, you've got the choice of living this life.
Mm-hmm.
And we may be on a fateful venture, a programmed venture in some areas, but you're here to enjoy life and to learn, to grow. And then when it's time to leave, you've amassed that information and knowledge that will even help more the next time you come around.
Yeah, definitely. I agree totally. Yes. So well said. Yes. Okay, I will speak a little of my language. Emaras toromaras kireshlala, umarasi kiran tormela kirasho. Elasikite fromanas tinayu, elakunumarase. Elana so elakana morase morakechta enama. Elasikiris saforomaratiketia. Olamos ela ekrena ilasho amora kesti safomala. Omare sekechala. Eso toro mara la kemun se chala sikaforo manelisi. Enasaktu to foro manatese. Erashakura mata. Elashukura. Elano toro sete. Ishala morova. Lara tu senara porasiki elasu emalarati la umatoseta.
Wow, do you hear the melodic waters happening in the background a little bit?
Do I hear that?
Wasn't that incredible? Could you give just a brief translation to the viewers of what you just said?
I am here in love and light to help Mother Earth to flourish, and to help everyone to open up their minds and the way they think towards each other. We're all love on this earth. So it's in that way that I have spoken.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's a beautiful message, and one that each day that we live and we grow more convicted into sharing that with others.
Yeah.
And Tress, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time today to share this with our viewers. This will be shared, and an upcoming article will happen, and it's going to reach thousands and thousands of people.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me on, Ed. It's been a pleasure and very enjoyable to spend the time with you and to connect and discuss the things that we need to genuinely speak about. That's very important.
More important now than ever. And
it's very important, yes. And well, I also sing as well, for anyone to know that I do my own singing, which is completely different, which can be at another point if we ever, you know.
Sure, absolutely. I just I am uplifted to a degree that I can hardly find words to share. Thank you so much. You're a very fine person, and you have incredible friends, and my bride is also uplifted and very, very happy to be part of it. And so,
I'm so privileged to know you and Liz, you're the both of you, and you are wonderful people yourselves, and all you're doing. It's amazing. You know, we're all coming together, and I'm so grateful that we've met and that we're going down the same road together now.
that's
Thank
wonderful.
you.
Thank you too. And to the viewers, sorry that some of the video is breaking up. This is not a total professional endeavor, but that being said, we really want the best for others. Take the time to stop, look, and listen and enjoy. Take in the love that's out there. It's there for you to not only ask for, but to receive and enjoy. And it's changed a lot in my life as well. I look back to many years earlier, and in some ways, it's not as pleasant as I would have wanted it to be. So now we're sharing that, because if we are not happy, then we can't share unhappiness. We have to share happiness from what we are and who we are.
Yes.
So Tress, we'll be talking to you on your Zoom session on Saturday, and thanks again for sharing. Just you are a magnificent friend, and I look forward to seeing you not only soon, but perhaps we might have another session at a time of your choosing right here on YouTube.
Yeah, it'd be lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
it's been wonderful.
Well, thank you so much. This is Ed with Tress, Blair, at Universal Digest, and may everyone have a very nice upcoming weekend, many weeks to come, many years to come. Take the time to ask for more love in your life, and you'll find it.